Hey guys, a couple thoughts I've been thinking about, reading about, hearing about. First is the compound effect. I've listened to the compound effect audiobook probably 6 times in the last few months, and the idea behind that book is that incremental extra effort or time or practice turns into exponentially larger returns, right? So at one point in the book, he gives an example that the difference between the number one golfer and the number 10 golfer is an average of 1.2 strokes. But the average pay of the number one golfer is 5 times greater than the number 10 golfer, right? So a small advantage turns into exponentially greater return. Same with like a horse race, right? He says, to quote him in the book, he says, a horse wins it by a nose, but the purse for the winning horse is 10 times greater than the second place horse, right? So incremental progress, incremental gain, incremental advantage doesn't just give you a slight increase in pay, a slight increase in your return. It gives you an exponentially larger return, right? And I think that the point of the book, that principle applies to so many things in life. If you can just be a tad, just a slight bit better than the competition, well, you get the job, you get the promotion, you get the stock options, you get there's a whole bunch of advantage in being the one who's just slightly better, right? So that's a very cool thought, and that same idea kind of plays into one thing that's been on my mind, is that you become expert at what you practice, right? There's a lot of ways that people say that similar phrase, like you are what you perform, or you are the sum of your daily decisions, or practice makes perfect, or practice makes permanent, or but you become expert at what you practice. Now, you can become expert at failure. You become expert at your daily routines, right? If you basically wake up at the same time every day, and you eat the same food, and you drive to work, those are all simple routines that don't necessarily gain you any grand advantage in life, but you become a very expert at that route you take to work, or you become an expert at cooking oatmeal, right? But it applies on every level. I used to be a stonemason. I still do sometimes, but I always found it interesting, like when we had a new person work with us, how kind of awkward they were with the trowel. Just getting cement from the bucket to the trowel to the stone or on the wall or whatever. It was just a little bit awkward, and I remember feeling that when I was new. But after a short while, it becomes a sort of an extension of your hand, and you don't think about it, feel it anymore. It's just a very smooth thing, right? Kobe Bryant shot 1,000 shots a day, 7 days a week, and he practiced with a specific form, and keep his elbow in and square his shoulders, and like the whole the process, follow through, flip the wrist, have the ball positioned on your hand a certain way. He did 1,000 of those every day, 7 days a week. Is it any surprise that he's one of the greatest players to ever play the game? Not just players, but offensive players to ever play the game. He was one of the best shooters. He could shoot from anywhere, from any distance, and was dangerous, right? So you become expert at what you practice. The thing is most people don't consciously practice a whole hell of a lot in their lives. They kind of just try to get through. So the difference between those who have that kind of compound effect, leveraging them into a better job, a higher level of education, a higher level of understanding, a better parent, they're the ones who have a certain focus on a certain task. When you look at it, the way an NBA player practices versus some rando just shooting hoops in their driveway, it's significantly different. They're trying to work on certain like the cerebral plasticity of your brain, where you try and do multiple tasks at once. There's like dribbling and catching a tennis ball at the same time, or dribbling and passing two different balls at the same time. They'll be, in an athletic position, dribbling extremely hard and fast under a small little, like, I don't know what you call it, but beneath a bar, basically, working on their crossover, doing it fast and hard, to the point where they lose the ball sometimes. These are the best dribblers in the world, and they're pushing themselves to the point of struggling, right? That's focused, intentional practice that will give you the compound effect in your life, right? The difference between Steph Curry's practice and many other people's practice is very small, but Steph Curry is known as the greatest shooter of all time, or at least one of them, and he must be practicing certain skills just more focused with a better method, better technique. And he's probably only a slight bit better than most shooters, but it's enough to make him known as the best shooter in the world, the most feared offensive player in the game right now, or at least, recently was. So anyway, take those two thoughts and apply them to your lives. As I frequently speak about finances, how are you practicing using your money? Do you have the compound effect working for or against you? Like, are you spending your money wisely? Are you putting it to work and gaining a small advantage day to day on spending a little bit less than normal on junk and putting a little bit more than normal into investments and literally taking advantage of compound interest in your life? Are you wasting money on a high insurance and high car payment because you wanted a slightly nicer car? Or could you, buy that 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old car, pay it off, have a no payment and a much reduced interest, insurance, pay a smaller amount for insurance, put all that money into investment, take advantage of compound interest. Leverage these small things into a positive return into your life, and over not very much time, they will turn into a significant income and nest egg for you that you could one day retire on and use only, you could live on 4% of interest while it's gaining 10. And at that point, you don't need a job, right? So anyway, take those thoughts for what they're worth. I've been acting like a child. No, sorry. Anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching. As always, I love to hear your comments, so please comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll get notified when new videos come up, so you can stay engaged with the conversation and stay motivated. For additional resources and information, go to bronsonwilks.com.